Space, the final frontier, an infinite expanse of unknown beauties and unknown terrors. But this is exactly what we'll be getting into in today's video, the ultimate space iceberg explained. And in this video, we'll talk about a ton of different and interesting things regarding space. And I know that I made this video before, but I wanted to remake it. So this is the ultimate space iceberg. But I'm really excited to get into this video because space is cool and interesting, so let's get into it. And also quickly, before we actually get into the video, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. It's the channel's goal to be at 500,000 subscribers, so please click that subscribe button. And alright, without further ado, Tier 1, ninth planet. The potential ninth planet, often referred to as Planet 9, is a theoretical large planet lurking at the edge of our solar system. Astronomers hypothesize its existence because of strange gravitational effects observed in the Kuiper Belt, a region of icy bodies beyond Neptune. Certain objects in this distant area have highly elliptical orbits that can't easily be explained by the gravitational pull of known planets. To account for these unusual orbits, scientists propose that a massive, unseen planet may be influencing them. If it exists, Planet 9 would be a gas giant around 5 to 10 times the mass of Earth. It's believed to orbit the Sun at an incredibly far distance, estimated to be 400 to 800 astronomical units AU away. 1 AU is the distance from Earth to the Sun. At such a vast distance, it could take Planet 9 between 10,000 to 20,000 Earth years to complete one orbit around the Sun. Efforts are ongoing to find direct evidence of this ninth planet. Researchers continue to analyze sky survey data and run simulations to predict its possible location. If Planet 9 is found, it could reshape our understanding of the solar system's formation and the dynamics of distant objects. Big Bang. The Big Bang is the leading theory explaining the origin of the universe. According to this theory, the universe began about 13.8 billion years ago as an infinitely small, dense, and hot point, which then expanded rapidly. This expansion is not an explosion in space, but rather an expansion of space itself. The intense energy and temperature allowed for the formation of the simplest particles like quarks and electrons, which eventually combined to form atoms and later stars and galaxies. One of the strongest pieces of evidence supporting the Big Bang theory is the cosmic microwave background, otherwise referred to as the CMB radiation. Discovered in 1965, the CMB is a faint glow of radiation that fills the entire universe and represents the afterglow of the Big Bang, visible today as a remnant of that early hot state. That CMB provides a snapshot of the universe when it was only about 380,000 years old and helps scientists understand how matter began to clump together to form whole galaxies. Additionally, the observed expansion of the universe discovered by Edwin Hubble supports the Big Bang theory. Hubble found that the galaxies are moving away from us, and the farther a galaxy is, the faster it appears to move. This observation is consistent with an expanding universe that started from a compact origin. The Big Bang theory has evolved from new observations and continues to shape our understanding of the universe's origin, its structure, and its future trajectory. However, questions about what caused the Big Bang or what, if anything, existed before remain open topics in cosmology. Tabby star. Tabby star, officially known as KIC 8462852, that's a hell of a name, has captivated scientists and the public since 2015 due to its unusual light fluctuations. Located about 1,400 light years away in the constellation Cygnus, Tabby star was found to dim irregularly by up to 22%, a phenomenon far greater than typical for a star of its type. This strange dimming pattern was first noticed by the star's namesake, astronomer Tabitha Boyajian, and her team, who observed it using data from the Kepler Space Telescope. Initially, various explanations were proposed for this strange behavior, ranging from swarms of comets to an alien megastructure. The latter idea, though speculative, sparked widespread interest as it suggested an advanced alien civilization might have constructed a large structure like a Dyson sphere to harness the star's energy. However, further study ruled out this theory as no other signs of intelligent life were detected. Currently, the leading theory is that a vast cloud of dust or fragments from a disrupted planet or asteroid might be causing the unusual dimming. Observations have shown that the dimming varies by wavelengths, which would be expected if dust particles were blocking the star's light rather than actual solid structure or aliens of some sort. However, none of the proposed explanations fully account for the extreme and erratic dips in brightness. Pioneer Plaque. The Pioneer Plaque is a message to extraterrestrial life carried by the Pioneer 10 and Pioneer 11 spacecraft, launched in 1972 and 1973, designed by astronomers Carl Sagan and Frank Drake. The plaque is gold anodized aluminum plate engraved with symbols intended to communicate fundamental information about humanity and Earth. Its purpose was to provide any intelligent life that might encounter the probes with an understanding of who sent them and where they came from. The plaque's design is both simple and profound. It features a human man and woman depicted in the nude, standing beside the spacecraft for scale. To convey that the man is waving in a friendly greeting, Sagan and his team used a universally recognized posture. The woman's figure is more passive, an attempt to depict both genders without aggressive stances. Next to the figures are symbols of hydrogen atoms, chosen as hydrogen is the most common element in the universe. They serve as the universal reference point, suggesting the units of time and distance used in the plaque's measurements. Another key feature of the plaque is a diagram showing our solar system with a line indicating the spacecraft's origin from Earth. Additionally, 14 pulsar lines radiate from the sun, marking unique frequencies that should make it possible for any intelligent civilizations to locate our solar system. While Pioneer 10 and 11 are now far, far away from Earth, the plaque remains a symbolic gesture, humanity's first hello to the cosmos, embodying curiosity, optimism, and the hope for connection with other life forms. Uranus sideways. Uranus is unique among the planets in our solar system because it rotates on its side. Unlike most planets, which spin perpendicular or nearly perpendicular to their orbital planes, Uranus has an extreme axial tilt of about 98 degrees. This means that, for much of its orbit, one of Uranus's poles is pointed almost directly at the sun, giving it an unusual seasonal cycle. Each pole gets around 42 years of continuous sunlight, followed by 42 years of darkness. Due to Uranus's 84-year orbit around the sun, scientists believe that this extreme tilt may have been caused by a massive collision with other celestial object early in Uranus's history. This impact could have knocked Uranus onto its side, fundamentally changing its orientation. This sideways rotation affects everything about the planet, including its magnetic field, which is also tilted and offset from the center of the planet. The unusual magnetic orientation leads to chaotic magnetic behavior and contributes to Uranus's unique magnetosphere. The planet's sideways tilt also gives it distinct atmospheric conditions. The intense, prolonged exposure to sunlight at each pole results in extreme seasonal variations. Scientists are still studying the atmosphere's composition and weather patterns to understand how these long summers and winters impact conditions on Uranus, making it one of the most mysterious and fascinating planets in all of our solar system. Tesla Roadster. In February 2018, Elon Musk's SpaceX launched a cherry red Tesla Roadster into space aboard the Falcon Heavy rocket, marking a unique combination of automotive and space innovation. The car, originally Musk's personal vehicle, was used as a playful payload for the test flight of the new rocket. Inside the Roadster was a mannequin in a spacesuit, affectionately named Starman, seated at the wheel and positioned as though driving through the stars. This eccentric payload captured worldwide attention, both for its spectacle and its symbolic representation of humanity's aspirations for space exploration. The Roadster's journey is far from a typical orbit around Earth. It was propelled into an elliptical orbit around the sun that takes it as far out as the orbit of Mars. The car and its driver are now on a solar orbit, moving between Earth and Mars at great distances. Scientists predict it could continue to orbit the sun for millions of years, although the harsh environment of space will eventually take its toll, with cosmic radiation and micrometeorite impacts slowly degrading it over time. Golden records. The Golden Records are two phonograph records launched into space aboard the Voyager 1 and Voyager 2 spacecraft in 1977. Created as a message for any potential extraterrestrial life that might encounter the Voyagers, these records were designed by a team led by Carl Sagan. Each record is a time capsule of sounds and images meant to convey the diversity of life and culture of Earth. The Golden Records contain a variety of materials, including 115 images and a diverse selection of natural sounds such as thunder, animal calls, and ocean waves. There's also a musical anthology spanning various cultures and genres, from Bach and Beethoven to traditional music from Africa, China, and Peru. Additionally, the records include spoken greetings in 55 languages and a message of peace from then U.S. President Jimmy Carter. One of the more personal features is a recording of the brainwaves of Anne Druyan, one of the project's team members, captured while she thought about love and the universe. The records themselves are made of gold-plated copper, designed to last in space for billions of years. They are encased in a protective aluminum cover with symbols and instructions engraved to guide any potential finders in playing the record. Included is also a map using pulsars to show Earth's location in the galaxy, a cosmic "you are here" marker. Pretty cool. Voyager 1 and 2 have since left our solar system, becoming humanity's farthest reaching artifacts. Though the likelihood of the records being found by intelligent life is slim and very, very, very slim, the Golden Records stand as a profound gesture of connection, representing Earth's collective message to the cosmos and embodying our curiosity, our culture, and hope for communication with other civilizations or aliens. String theory. String theory is a theoretical framework in physics that attempts to explain the fundamental building blocks of the universe. Unlike traditional particle physics, which describes particles like electrons or quarks as point-like objects, string theory proposes that these particles are actually tiny, vibrating strings. These strings are so small, estimated to be on the order of 10 to the 35th power meters, known as the Planck length, that they appear point-like at observable scales. The way these strings vibrate determines the properties of particles such as mass and charge. Different vibrational patterns correspond to different particles, similar to how different notes can be played on a guitar string by changing its frequency. A major appeal of string theory is that it naturally includes gravity. Traditional quantum physics and Einstein's theory of general relativity, which describes gravity, don't easily fit together. But string theory offers a way to unify these forces, leading some physicists to hope it could be the elusive theory of everything that explains all fundamental forces, gravity, electromagnetism, and the strong and weak nuclear forces within a single framework. One of string theory's key implications is the need for additional spatial dimensions beyond the familiar three. Most versions of string theory require a total of 10 or 11 dimensions for the mathematics to work consistently. While we don't perceive these extra dimensions in our daily lives, theorists propose that they may be compacified or curled up at incredibly small scales, making them undetectable at human-sized distances. Despite its elegance, string theory remains unproven, largely due to the difficulty of testing its predictions. Its scale is far smaller than what current experiments can observe, leaving many of its ideas in the realm of mathematical abstraction. Nonetheless, string theory has inspired important insights and continues to drive research in theoretical physics, offering an exciting glimpse into how the universe might work at its deepest level. And I know that might not be the most understandable thing. That was pretty complicated, and a lot of these entries will be very complicated because, physics and a lot of astronomy is very, hard to understand and comprehend. So I'm doing my best to explain this as best as possible, but there's a lot of kind of hard to understand concepts in this entire iceberg, so I'm just letting you know now. So if you seem lost in a few other entries down the list, don't worry, I kind of am too. It's all right, we'll figure it out. Wow signal. The wow signal is one of the most famous and intriguing mysteries in the search for extraterrestrial intelligence. Detected on August 15, 1977 by astronomer Jerry Emmon using Ohio State University's Big Ear radio telescope, this powerful and narrow band radio signal lasted for 72 seconds and appeared to come from the direction of the constellation Sagittarius. The signal was so unusual that M circled it on the printout and wrote "Wow" in the margin, which led to its now famous name. What made the wow signal so compelling was its strength and the fact that it was detected at a frequency of 1420 megahertz, the natural emission frequency for hydrogen, the most abundant element in the universe. This frequency has long been considered a logical place to search for alien transmissions because hydrogen is so fundamental to chemistry and physics, making it a potential universal frequency that intelligent beings might use to communicate. Despite repeated attempts to find the signal again in the same region of space, it has never been detected since. This lack of replication leaves scientists with many unanswered questions. Some theories suggest it was caused by natural phenomena such as radio interference from a passing satellite or Earth-bound equipment, but these explanations have not been confirmed. Another hypothesis suggests that the signal might indeed have been of extraterrestrial origin. The wow signal remains an open question in the field of astronomy in the search for extraterrestrial life. Alright, cool, that was tier 1, now let's get into tier 2. Triton was captured. Triton, Neptune's largest moon, is unique because it has an unusual orbit that suggests it was not originally formed in place around Neptune, but rather was captured by the planet's gravity. Unlike most moons in the solar system, which tend to have prograde orbits, which means moving in the same direction as their planet's rotation, Triton has a retrograde orbit, meaning it orbits Neptune in the opposite direction. This peculiar orbital pattern indicates that Triton likely didn't form alongside Neptune in the solar nebula, but instead was a rogue object, probably a Kuiper belt object, that was captured by Neptune's gravity. Scientists believe that Triton was once a part of the Kuiper belt, a region beyond Neptune filled with icy bodies. As it passed too close to Neptune, the planet's strong gravitational pull could have altered its path, eventually drawing it in and forcing it into orbit. Over time, Triton's orbit became more circular, but it remains retrograde. A key indicator of its capture, this capture theory explains several of Triton's characteristics. For instance, it has a relatively young surface covered in ices, suggesting recent geological activity, and it has geysers that spew nitrogen gas into space, which are likely a result of internal heat generated by tidal forces from Neptune's gravitational pull. These tidal forces also contribute to Triton's retrograde orbit as they gradually slow down the moon and alter its motion, potentially leading to its eventual destabilization and eventual loss of orbit. Triton's capture is a fascinating case of planetary dynamics and highlights how moons can sometimes be more like interlopers than natural satellites. This theory also has implications of the study of other moons and planets, suggesting that moons like Triton could be more common in the solar system than previously thought, especially for planets far away from the sun. Heat death. Heat death, also known as the Big Freeze, is one of the most widely accepted theories about the ultimate fate of the universe. It is based on the second law of thermodynamics, which states that over time, systems tend to move towards a state of maximum entropy or disorder. In the context of the universe, this means that as time progresses, all energy will eventually be evenly spread out, leading to a state where no usable energy remains to do work. In the heat death scenario, the universe continues to expand, cooling and spreading out over an incomprehensible timescale. As stars burn through their nuclear fuel and exhaust their energy, they will burn out and die, leaving behind cold, dark remnants like white dwarfs, neutron stars, and black holes. Even black holes themselves will eventually evaporate due to a process known as Hawking radiation, though this would take far longer than the current age of the universe. As energy becomes more evenly distributed, stars no longer shine, and matter is spread thin across an ever-expanding cosmos. This state of heat death would be characterized by a universe that is uniformly cold, dark, and devoid of any thermodynamic activity. There would be no gradients in temperature or energy, meaning no processes could occur that would support life, star formation, or any form of structure. The heat death of the universe is thought to occur trillions of years from now, far beyond human comprehension, and represents a far distant, irreversible conclusion to the universe's evolution. It marks the end of all thermodynamic processes, leaving behind an almost completely empty, featureless universe. Nibiru. Nibiru is a term that has gained widespread attention due to various doomsday theories and claims about a Planet X or a rogue planet that is supposedly on a collision course with Earth. The concept of Nibiru first emerged from the work of Zecharia Sitchin in his 1976 book, The 12th Planet, where he claimed that ancient Sumerian texts referred to a mysterious planet called Nibiru. According to Sitchin, this planet has a highly elliptical orbit, passing through our solar system every 3,600 years, and was home to ancient alien civilizations called the Anunnaki, who supposedly visited Earth in the distant past. However, Sitchin's ideas are not supported by mainstream scientists or even archaeologists. His interpretations of Sumerian texts have been widely criticized and dismissed by experts. There is no evidence of any planet named Nibiru or any advanced extraterrestrial civilization visiting Earth. The Nibiru cataclysm theory would suggest that Nibiru would cause a global disaster, such as a collision with Earth, at some point in the 21st century, gained particular traction in the years leading up to 2012. Some proponents link this theory to the Mayan calendar, which predicted the end of an era on December 21st, 2012. Despite widespread media attention and public fear, 2012 passed without any such event, and the supposed planetary collision did not occur. I mean, we're still here today, so pretty obvious. Astronomers have found no evidence of any large planet or object with an orbit that would pose a threat to Earth. No such body has been detected in the far reaches of our solar system, and our current understanding of orbital mechanics makes the existence of Nibiru highly unlikely. Plan 9. Plan 9 from Outer Space is a 1959 science fiction film directed by Ed Wood, widely regarded as one of the worst movies of all time. The film is infamous for its low-budget production, awkward dialogue, and numerous technical flaws, making it a cult classic among fans of so bad it's good cinema. Despite its poor reputation, the film has gained a significant following over the decades due to its earnest attempts at storytelling and its place in the history of B-movies. The plot of Plan 9 revolves around a group of extraterrestrials who attempt to prevent humanity from creating a doomsday weapon that could destroy the universe. Their Plan 9, involves resurrecting the dead to create an army of zombies to take over Earth. The movie features several bizarre and memorable moments, such as a graveyard scene where cardboard tombstones can be seen wobbling and wooden stakes visibly holding up the dead characters. It also includes the famous scene of the flying saucers, which were made from pie tins suspended on strings. Despite the technical shortcomings, Plan 9 from Outer Space stands out for its unique blend of absurdity, charm, and ambition. Ed Wood, known for his unconventional filmmaking style, directed with passion and without regard for the standard rules of filmmaking, which contributed to the film's enduring legacy. And it was even dubbed the worst film ever made in 1980 by the Golden Turkey Awards, which cemented its status as a beloved piece of movie history. And I'm not really sure why this was included in the Iceberg, but funny to read about. Nudes sent to aliens. The idea of sending nude images to extraterrestrials has been suggested as part of a various speculative discussions about humanity's first contact with alien civilizations. One of the more well-known instances of this concept comes from the Voyager Golden Records, which we talked about earlier, which were launched in 1977 aboard the Voyager 1 and 2 spacecraft. While the records included a variety of information about Earth, including images of human autonomy, these were carefully selected as part of an effort to represent the diversity of life on our planet. However, the images did not feature explicit nudity. Instead, they included symbolic representations of human figures in a non-sexualized context, but they were a stick figure depiction of a man and woman. So we kind of did send nudes to aliens in some sort of weird way, but it was just kind of crudely drawn, I guess. But, I don't know. So we kind of did, but we kind of didn't. I don't know. It was interesting. Arecibo signal. The Arecibo signal refers to a famous radio transmission sent from the Arecibo Observatory in Puerto Rico in 1974. Intended as a demonstration of human technological capability and an attempt to reach out to potential extraterrestrial life, the signal was part of the Arecibo message, a binary encoded message aimed at any extraterrestrial intelligence that might be listening. It was designed by Frank Drake, who is also known for his work on the SETI, which stands for Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence, program, and a team of researchers as a way to test the capabilities of the Arecibo radio telescope. The message was transmitted using a powerful radio beam directed towards the star cluster Mizar 13, which is located about 25,000 light years away. The choice of this target was somewhat arbitrary, but it was chosen because it was relatively close to Earth in cosmic terms, and the star cluster was easily visible with a telescope. The Arecibo message was composed of 1679 bits, a semi-prime number, meaning it's the product of two prime numbers, and each bit was part of a larger pattern intended to represent humanity and its knowledge. The message contained several pieces of information, including a depiction of human figures in binary form, the solar system and Earth's position in it, and the DNA double helix structure symbolizing the fundamental molecule of life, a graphic of the Arecibo telescope itself, and the numbers 1 to 10 in binary. While the Arecibo message was not intended to be an actual attempt to communicate with aliens, given the immense distance of 25,000 light years, it was a symbolic and scientific gesture meant to showcase human achievements in communication and to demonstrate that we were capable of sending complex messages into space. COBE, or COB, I guess, which means Cosmic Background Explorer, was a groundbreaking NASA mission launched in 1989 to study the cosmic microwave background radiation, the faint glow left over from the Big Bang, as we talked about earlier. Its primary objective was to map the CMB across the entire sky, providing vital information about the early universe. Cobb's findings had a profound impact on cosmology, offering crucial evidence that supported the Big Bang theory. One of the most significant results from Cobb was the detection of slight temperature fluctuations in the CMB, which are thought to represent the initial density variations that would eventually grow into galaxies and other large-scale structures in the universe. These fluctuations were minuscule, but they were a crucial piece of the puzzle in understanding how the universe evolved from a homogeneous state to a complex, structured cosmos we see today. The satellite also confirmed that the CMB follows a nearly perfect black body radiation curve, which was a critical prediction of the Big Bang model. This confirmation solidified the view that the universe began as a hot, dense state and has been expanding and cooling ever since. Cobb's detailed measurements of the CMB spectrum helped validate the framework for modern cosmology. The mission's success set the stage for later experiments and missions, such as the WMAP and Planck, which refined our understanding of the CMB even further. In recognition of the monumental contributions to science, Cobb's team, especially George Smoot and John Mather, received the Nobel Prize in Physics in 2006. The data gathered by Cobb remains a cornerstone of our understanding of the universe's origins. Gravitational lensing. Gravitational lensing is a phenomenon in which the gravitational field of a massive object like a galaxy or a black hole bends the path of light for a more distant object, such as a star or galaxy. This effect is a direct consequence of Einstein's theory of general relativity, which predicts that mass and energy can curve space-time. When light passes near a massive object, the curvature of space-time bends the light's path, much like a lens bends light. As a result, the light from the background object can be magnified, distorted, or even multiplied, creating multiple images of the same distant source. Gravitational lensing has proven to be a powerful tool for astronomers. It allows them to observe objects that would otherwise be too distant or faint to detect, as the lensing effect can magnify the light or make the background object appear brighter or more visible. Additionally, gravitational lensing can reveal the presence of otherwise invisible matter, such as dark matter. Since dark matter doesn't emit light but exerts gravitational pull, it can act as a lensing agent, distorting the light for background objects in ways that reveal its presence. The most dramatic form of gravitational lensing is called strong lensing, where the light from a distant object is bent into arcs or even complete circles known as Einstein rings. Gravitational lensing is not just a phenomenon of curiosity, but actually a valuable observational tool that has contributed to our understanding of the cosmos, including the distribution of dark matter and the expansion of the universe. It continues to play a significant role in cosmology, helping astronomers uncover the secrets of the universe. Fermi paradox. The Fermi paradox is actually one of my favorite entries on this iceberg and just something that interests me so much. So if you'd like to see a video on the Fermi paradox as a standalone video in the future, let me know down in the comments below. But anyways, let's get into this. The Fermi paradox refers to the apparent contradiction between the high probability of extraterrestrial life in the universe and the lack of any clear evidence or contact with such civilizations. The term originated from a conversation in 1950 between physicist Enrico Fermi and his colleagues, where Fermi famously asked, "Where is everybody?" Despite the vast number of stars in the Milky Way galaxy, many of which likely have habitable planets, no definitive signals or signs of alien life have been detected. One of the main reasons the paradox exists is due to the sheer size of the universe, with billions of stars and potentially habitable planets. The odds of life developing elsewhere seem extremely high. The Drake equation, developed in 1961 by astronomer Frank Drake, is often cited to estimate the number of active, communicative extraterrestrial civilizations in the universe or galaxy. Based on various factors, it suggests that intelligent life should be common, yet, despite decades of searching, we have not received any convincing signals or evidence of extraterrestrial civilizations. There are numerous hypotheses that attempt to explain the Fermi paradox. Some suggest that advanced civilizations are rare, either because the conditions for life are more specific and difficult to meet than we think, or because the lifespan of technology, advanced civilizations, is relatively short. Others propose that extraterrestrial civilizations may be deliberately avoiding contact, either out of caution or a desire to remain undetected. Another possibility is that alien life forms might be so different from us, both biologically and technologically, that we fail to recognize their presence or signals. Alternatively, it's possible that alien civilizations exist but are simply too far away, and the limitations of our current technology prevent us from detecting them. The Fermi paradox continues to be a central question in the search for extraterrestrial intelligence. Earth does not orbit the sun. The statement, "Earth does not orbit the sun," is a misconception based on an incorrect understanding of our solar system. In reality, Earth does indeed orbit the sun, if you probably learned in 5th grade or something, but this idea is rooted in the heliocentric model of the solar system, which was first proposed by the astronomer Nicolaus Copernicus in the 16th century. According to the model, the sun is at the center of the universe, and the planets, including Earth, revolve around it due to the gravitational exerted by the sun. However, it's worth noting that the Earth does not follow a perfectly circular orbit. It follows an elliptical or oval-shaped path, and the sun's gravitational force pulls the Earth towards it, while the Earth's motion keeps it in orbit. This balance of forces prevents Earth from falling into the sun or flying off into the space. And also, before the 16th century, everybody thought everything orbited the Earth, and so maybe that's what this is also referring to. But we got rid of that idea a long time ago. Haumea. Haumea is a dwarf planet located in the outer reaches of our solar system, specifically in the Kuiper Belt, a region beyond Neptune that is filled with icy bodies and dwarf planets. Haumea stands out not only because of its location, but also because of its unique shape and characteristics. Unlike most round Earth-shaped things or celestial bodies, Haumea is an ellipsoid, shaped more like a rugby ball or an elongated oval. This unusual shape is the result of its rapid rotation. Haumea completes one full spin in just about 4 hours, which is one of the fastest rotational periods known for any large object in the solar system. Haumea was discovered in 2004 by a team of astronomers using the Subaru telescope in Hawaii, and it was officially classified as a dwarf planet in 2008 by the International Astronomical Union. It is about 1,600 kilometers or 1,000 miles in diameter at its longest axes, making it one of the larger known objects in the Kuiper Belt. Although it is still much smaller than planets like Earth or even Pluto, Haumea has 2 known moons, Namaka and Hayaka, which are named after Hawaiian deities. The dwarf planet's surface is primarily composed of water ice, and it likely has a rocky core with a thin atmosphere, if any. The composition and rapid rotation suggested that Haumea may have been the result of a collision with another object long ago, which could have contributed to its elongated shape and its relatively low density compared to other celestial bodies of its size. One of the more intriguing aspects of Haumea is the mystery surrounding its origin and the possibility of its surface being in a state of constant change. Because of its rapid rotation, there may be active processes at work on its surface, including the creation of new ice deposits or resurfacing. This makes Haumea a fascinating object of study in understanding the dynamics and evolution of the outer solar system. Venus upside down. Venus is often described as upside down due to its unusual rotation. Unlike most planets in the solar system, Venus rotates in the opposite direction of most others, including Earth. This means that if you're standing on Venus, the sun would rise in the west and set in the east, the opposite of what we experience on Earth. Venus's rotation is classified as retrograde, meaning its rotation is the opposite direction to its orbit around the sun. Furthermore, Venus has an extremely slow rotation speed. It takes about 243 Earth days for Venus to complete one full rotation on its axis, making a day on Venus longer than a year on Venus, which is 225 Earth days. This slow retrograde rotation means that the planet's day is almost the same length as its year. Adding to the oddness, Venus's axial tilt, the angle at which its axis is tilted relative to its orbital plane, is only about 3 degrees. This is much less than Earth's tilt of 23.5 degrees, so Venus doesn't experience the same variety of seasons that we do. Combined with its thick, toxic atmosphere and extreme surface temperatures, these factors make Venus one of the most extreme and inhospitable planets in the entire solar system. Yet, its upside-down rotation is one of its most distinctive features. The cause of this unusual rotation is still debated to this day, with theories suggesting it could have been influenced by a massive collision or other cosmic events in the planet's distant past. Alright, let's get into Tier 3. Moon destroyed to form rings of Saturn. The idea that a moon was destroyed to form the rings of Saturn is a hypothesis that draws from the theory of planetary ring formation. While there is no direct evidence to support this, it is one of the most possible scenarios proposed by scientists to explain the origin of Saturn's rings. Saturn's rings are made of countless particles ranging in size from tiny dust grains to large boulders, and they are primarily composed of ice with a smaller proportion of rock. These rings are located within the planet's Roche limit, the region where the tidal forces exerted by Saturn's gravity are strong enough to prevent a moon from coalescing or remaining intact if it ventured too close. If a moon or other celestial body were to pass inside this limit, the tidal forces would exceed the moon's gravitational pull, potentially tearing it apart. This destruction could create the debris that forms a planetary ring system. In this scenario, an object, either a moon or a captured asteroid, could have ventured too close to Saturn, crossing its Roche limit and being torn apart by the planet's immense gravity. This resulting fragments would then spread out to form the rings that we see today. The rings of Saturn are estimated to be relatively young, perhaps only a few 100 million years old, which supports the idea that they could have formed after the destruction of a moon or another large body. While this is a plausible theory, there are other competing ideas as well. Some scientists believe the rings could have formed from leftover material that never coalesced into a moon, or that they could have been created by the gravitational interactions between Saturn and other objects over time. Despite ongoing research, the precise origin of Saturn's rings remains one of the many mysteries of our solar system. Big Crunch theory. The Big Crunch is one of the possible end scenarios for the universe, where the expansion of the cosmos reverses, and the universe ultimately collapses back on itself. This theory is based on the idea that the universe's expansion, which began with the Big Bang, could eventually slow down and reverse due to the gravitational attraction of all the matter in the universe. In this scenario, the universe would stop expanding and start contracting, drawing galaxies, stars, and all other matter back toward a central point. The Big Crunch depends on the density of the universe. If there is enough matter, especially dark matter, then the gravitational pull would eventually overcome the current expansion driven by dark energy, leading to a then collapse. As the universe contracts, galaxies would merge, stars would collide, and the temperature of the universe would rise dramatically. In the final moments of the collapse, everything would be compressed into an incredibly dense and hot singularity, possibly resembling the state of a universe at the time of the Big Bang. However, current observations suggest that the universe is expanding at an accelerating rate, driven by dark energy. This discovery, made in the late 1990s, has led many scientists to consider other potential end scenarios, such as the Big Freeze, where the universe continues expanding forever and becomes increasingly cold and empty. The Big Crunch is still a theoretical possibility, but it is considered less likely given our current understanding of the universe's expansion. WMAP. WMAP was a NASA mission launched in 2001 to measure the cosmic microwave background radiation across the entire sky. The CMB is the faint afterglow of the Big Bang, providing a snapshot of the universe when it was only about 380,000 years old. WMAP's primary goal was to map the temperature fluctuations in the CMB with high precision, which would allow scientists to refine our understanding of the universe's age, its composition, and the overall structure. The data collected by WMAP provided key insights into the early universe. One of its most significant contributions was determining the age of the universe with greater accuracy. WMAP's measurements led to the conclusion that the universe is approximately 13.8 billion years old. It also helped to refine the values for important cosmological parameters, such as the proportion of normal matter, and dark energy in the universe. This provided strong support for the lambda CDM model, the current standard model of cosmology, which posits that the universe is composed mainly of dark energy, about 68%, dark matter, which is about 27%, and only a small fraction of ordinary matter, about 5%. WMAP's findings also provided the most detailed map of the CMB, showing temperature variations that correspond to the early seeds of galaxies and large-scale structures. These fluctuations are believed to have originated in the first moments after the Big Bang and ultimately grew into the complex universe we observe today. 10th planet. The 10th planet refers to a hypothetical planet beyond Pluto that was speculated to exist in our solar system. The concept of a 10th planet emerged after the discovery of Eris in 2005, a large icy object in the Kuiper Belt, which is a region of the solar system beyond Neptune filled with small bodies. Eris was initially thought to be more massive than Pluto, leading some to consider a potential 10th planet. This sparked a debate over how to classify such objects and whether Pluto should still be considered the 9th planet. In 2006, the International Astronomical Union redefined the criteria for classifying planets, which resulted in Pluto being reclassified as a dwarf planet. This definition also applied to Eris and other similar objects in the Kuiper Belt, which are now considered dwarf planets rather than full-fledged planets. Despite this reclassification, the term 10th planet is sometimes used informally to refer to other large objects discovered in the outer reaches of the solar system. Some astronomers speculate that there could be additional, undiscovered large planets in the outer solar system, potentially as large or larger than Earth. This idea is partially driven by unusual gravitational interactions observed in the orbits of distant objects, which could suggest the presence of an unseen planet. In 2016, the hypothesis of a Planet 9 gained traction. Some scientists proposed that a planet, about 10 times the mass of Earth, could be lurking in the far reaches of the solar system, beyond the orbit of Pluto. Face on Mars detected by Viking. The face on Mars refers to a famous image captured by NASA's Viking 1 spacecraft in 1976, which seemed to show a large humanoid face carved into the surface of Mars, located in the Sedona region. The image sparked widespread fascination and speculation, with some suggesting it could be evidence of ancient alien civilizations that once lived on Mars, leading to theories about extraterrestrial intelligence. The image, which was released to the public, showed a large mesa-like structure that appeared to have facial features, including eyes, a nose, and a mouth. This led to a surge of interest in the idea that intelligent beings may have once inhabited Mars and created large-scale monuments or structures, which, like the pyramids of Egypt or the Maui structures or statues on Easter Island. The face on Mars became an icon in popular culture, symbolizing the possibility of ancient alien civilizations and sparking debates about the existence of life on Mars. However, further investigation into the face revealed that the shape was an optical illusion caused by the lighting and the resolution of the Viking 1 camera. When higher resolution images were taken later, especially by the Mars Global Surveyor in the late 1990s, the face became much less distinct, revealing that the structure was just a natural mesa with no intentional features. The features that seemed to resemble a face were simply a result of shadows and the angle of the sunlight during the initial Viking image capture. Despite this, the idea of the face on Mars has persisted in popular culture and conspiracy theories, often cited by those who believe that evidence of extraterrestrial life has been hidden or overlooked. Pluto-Charon double planet system. The Pluto-Charon system is often referred to as a double planet due to its unique relationship between Pluto and its larger moon, Charon. While most moons in the solar system orbit their planets at a significant distance, Charon is so large in comparison to Pluto that the two bodies are gravitational bound in a way that is quite distinct from the typical planet-moon relationship. Charon, with a diameter of about 1,200 kilometers, which is about 751 miles, is roughly half the size of Pluto, making it the largest moon relative to its planet in the solar system. This creates a situation where the center of mass of the Pluto-Charon system doesn't lie within Pluto itself, but instead lies between the two bodies. This means both Pluto and Charon essentially orbit a common center of mass, which is a key feature of a double planet system. In addition to this unusual orbital dynamic, the two bodies are tidally locked with one another, meaning that Charon always shows the same face to Pluto as it orbits, and vice versa. This is similar to how the moon always presents the same side to Earth. As a result, the two bodies are in a state of gravitational equilibrium, with Pluto and Charon essentially rotating around each other in a harmonious dance. This distinctive characteristic of the Pluto-Charon system led to the discussions within the astronomical community about whether Pluto and Charon should be classified as a double planet system. However, Pluto's status as a dwarf planet rather than a full-fledged planet means that it doesn't fit the typical planetary classification. Despite this, the Pluto-Charon system stands out as an exceptional example of a close gravitational relationship between a planet and its moon. The system's unique characteristics were highlighted during the NASA's New Horizons mission in 2015, which provided detailed images and data about Pluto and Charon, offering a deeper understanding of the relationship and the geological features present on both bodies. Nemesis. Nemesis is a hypothetical star proposed by some astronomers to explain potential periodic mass extinctions on Earth. The idea was first introduced in the 1980s by scientists from the University of California, led by physicist Richard Muller, who suggested that the Sun might have a distant companion star, an unseen twin, that could be influencing the orbits of comets in the Oort cloud, a region of icy bodies far beyond the orbit of Neptune. This hypothetical star was named Nemesis. The theory posited that every 26 million years, Nemesis could pass through the Oort cloud, distributing the orbits of comets and sending them into the inner solar system. Some of these comets might then collide with Earth, potentially causing mass extinctions, similar to the impact event that is believed to have contributed to the demise of the dinosaurs about 66 million years ago. This cyclic pattern of destruction was thought to be responsible for the apparent periodicity of extinctions observed in the fossil record. Despite the intriguing nature of the theory, no direct evidence of Nemesis has ever been found. Over the years, astronomers have searched for such a star using various observational methods, but none have detected any object matching the characteristics of Nemesis. Some recent studies have questioned the idea that mass extinctions occur in a regular cycle, suggesting that the perceived periodicity could be a result of statistical coincidences rather than a systematic cause. Big Bounce. The Big Bounce is a theoretical model of the universe's origin and eventual fate, suggesting that the universe undergoes a cyclical process of expansion and contraction, rather than having a singular beginning like the Big Bang. According to this idea, the universe has experienced multiple cycles, with each bounce representing the rebirth of the cosmos after it contracts to a singularity, a point of infinite density and temperature. The theory posits that after the universe reaches this contracted state, it bounces back, expanding once again into a new universe, potentially with a different set of physical properties. The Big Bounce model emerged as an alternative to the traditional Big Bang theory, which suggests that the universe began from a singularity and has been expanding ever since. Yeah, we've been over that. But the cyclic nature of the Big Bounce hypothesis is rooted in the concept of a universe that doesn't have a definitive beginning or end, but instead undergoes an internal process of expansion and contraction. This cyclical model is sometimes proposed in the context of quantum gravity and string theory, which aim to reconcile the laws of quantum mechanics with general relativity. In the Big Bounce scenario, the contraction phase would be driven by the gravitational pull of matter, which eventually causes the universe to collapse inward. However, the quantum effects of gravity might prevent the universe from collapsing completely into a singularity, allowing a bounce to occur instead. This idea is sometimes supported by the concept of quantum cosmology, which suggests that quantum effects can play a role in shaping the behavior of the universe at extremely small scales. like those encountered in the early universe. While the Big Bounce theory is fascinating, it is still highly speculative and lacks concrete evidence. The current understanding of cosmology, based on observations of the cosmic microwave background and the expansion of the universe, leans more towards the idea that the universe began with the Big Bang and will continue to expand indefinitely, possibly leading to scenarios like the Big Freeze or heat death. Golfing on the moon. Golfing on the moon became a reality during the Apollo 14 mission in 1971, when astronaut Alan Shepard famously hit 2 golf balls on the lunar surface. Pretty badass. Shepard, known for being the first American in space, took advantage of the opportunity to perform the unconventional experiment as part of a series of scientific activities during the mission. Using a modified 6-iron club that he had smuggled aboard, Shepard took a one-handed swing at the balls while wearing a full, bulky spacesuit, making the feat even more remarkable. The golfing event was not just for fun, it was also a demonstration of the moon's lower gravity and how it would affect the trajectory of objects, but that's pretty fun. In the weaker gravitational field of the moon, which is about 1/6 that of Earth's, Shepard's golf balls traveled much farther than they would have on Earth. The first ball he hit went about 200 yards, and the second traveled even further. The combination of the reduced gravity and the lack of air resistance allowed the golf balls to travel much greater distances than they would have on Earth. Although Shepard's golf shot became one of the more famous moments in space exploration history, it wasn't an official part of the scientific goals on the mission. It was a lighthearted, humanizing gesture that captured the imagination of people around the world. The Apollo 14 mission was primarily focused on collecting geological samples, deploying scientific instruments, and conducting experiments to learn more about the moon's surface and history. But you're on the moon once in your life, so might as well hit a golf ball if you wanna. Alright, let's get into tier 4. Martian spoon. The Martian spoon refers to a mysterious object that was found by NASA's Mars rover, specifically the Curiosity rover, which has been exploring the surface of Mars since 2012. The object in question is a small, shiny, and oddly spoon-shaped rock, which some people have speculated could be a man-made artifact. The term Martian spoon gained traction in the media and among conspiracy theorists after images of the object were posted online, with some suggesting it might be evidence of alien life or ancient human visitors to Mars. NASA and scientists, however, have repeatedly explained that the object is a naturally occurring rock formation, likely shaped by the harsh Martian environment over millions of years. The spoon appearance is simply the result of natural geological processes like erosion, wind, and the action of sandblasting. Mars's surface is full of strange and unusual rock formations that can resemble familiar objects such as faces, bones, or even tools, but these are always the result of pareidolia, which is the tendency of the human brain to recognize patterns in random objects or images. The fascination with the Martian spoon highlights the human tendency to look for meaning and familiar shapes in unexplained phenomena. While some may see it as a sign of extraterrestrial life or technology, the scientific community considers it to be just another odd rock in the vast landscape of Mars. Still, the idea of objects that resemble everyday tools or artifacts fuels the imagination and keeps the mystery of Mars alive in popular culture and conspiracy theories. Penis drawing in the Moon Museum. The penis drawing in the Moon Museum refers to a small and somewhat controversial piece of artwork that was secretly smuggled onto the moon as part of the Apollo 12 mission in 1969. Apollo 12, the second manned mission to land on the moon, carried a unique item, a tiny, hidden museum embedded on a small metallic disc. This Moon Museum was created by a group of artists and included works by famous names like Andy Warhol, Robert Rauschenberg, and others. However, one of the pieces in this collection was a subtle but unmistakable drawing of a penis, which was included without the official approval of NASA. The Moon Museum was the brainchild of artist Forrest Frosty Myers, who conceived the idea to create a secret artistic collection that would be placed on the lunar surface. It was produced in miniature form, roughly the size of a postage stamp, and attached to a small piece of ceramic material that was sent aboard the lunar module. The disc, which contained the artwork, was intended to be left on the moon as a form of conceptual art. The penis drawing was one of the works included in the collection, and it went unnoticed for decades, as the object was so small and hidden that it was not discovered until after the mission. The inclusion of this drawing sparked some controversy, especially when it was first revealed, as it was seen by some as just an inappropriate or juvenile addition to a historic mission. NASA, however, was unaware of the inclusion at the time, and the disk was small enough that it could not be seen by the astronauts during the moonwalk. Over the years, the Moon Museum became a quirky and somewhat legendary example of art history intersecting with space exploration. Center of the universe. The center of the universe is a concept that has intrigued humanity for centuries, both from a scientific and philosophical perspective. Historically, many cultures believed Earth or their specific civilization occupied the center of the universe, reflecting their perception of human importance in the grand scheme of existence. This idea was especially prevalent in the geocentric model of the cosmos, which placed Earth at the center of the universe. A few championed by ancient astronomers like Claudius Ptolemy, the belief persisted for centuries, heavily influenced by religious and cultural teachings. However, the advent of modern astronomy shattered this view. The heliocentric model proposed by Copernicus in the 16th century and later supported by figures like Galileo and Kepler showed that Earth orbits the Sun, not the other way around. This discovery placed the Sun at the center of the solar system, not Earth. But as astronomers' understanding of the cosmos expanded, the idea of a singular center became less meaningful. In the 20th century, Edwin Hubble's observations revealed that galaxies are moving away from each other, suggesting that the universe itself is expanding. This led to the realization that there is no center point from which the universe is expanding, meaning that the universe doesn't have a traditional center in the way earlier models had suggested. From a cosmological standpoint, every point in the universe can be considered the center of the expansion, depending on where you are observing it. This is a consequence of the Big Bang Theory, where the universe began from a singularity and has been expanding outward ever since. Aliens under the crust of Europa. The idea of aliens under the crust of Europa, one of Jupiter's moons, is a fascinating concept that combines scientific speculation with the allure of extraterrestrial life. Europa has long been considered one of the most promising places in the solar system to search for life beyond Earth, due to its potential subsurface ocean beneath a thick icy crust. Scientists believe that beneath this icy surface, liquid water, essential for life as we know it, could exist in a subsurface ocean, kept warm by tidal heating from Jupiter's gravitational pull. This ocean, which could be in contact with Europa's rocky mantle, offers a unique environment that could harbor microbial life. The idea of aliens in this ocean is rooted in the notion that where there is water, there may be life. Although there is no direct evidence of life on Europa, scientists speculate that if life does exist, it could be in forms adapted to the harsh, dark, and cold environment under the moon's icy crust. Similar life forms on Earth thrive in extreme environments, such as hydrothermal vents on the ocean floor, where energy is derived not from sunlight but from the chemical reactions of minerals and water. If Europa's ocean has similar conditions, it's conceivable that microbial or simple life forms could survive there. The question of extraterrestrial life on Europa is further fueled by the moon's intriguing surface features, such as cracks and ridges in the ice, which suggest that water from below the surface might be leaking into space. This interaction between the subsurface ocean and the surface ice creates an interesting dynamic that could play a role in the potential habitability of the moon. NASA's upcoming missions, such as the Europa Clipper mission, aim to explore Europa in greater detail, investigating its ice shell, subsurface ocean, and the possibility of some sort of life. Instruments on these spacecraft will measure the composition of Europa's surface and attempt to detect signs of biological or chemical activity in the water beneath. While the idea of alien life under the crust of Europa remains speculative, the scientific exploration of the moon brings us closer to understanding whether life could exist in the cold, dark oceans of other worlds. If Europa does harbor life, it would be a groundbreaking discovery, reshaping our understanding of life's potential beyond Earth. Russell's teapot. Russell's teapot is a philosophical analogy introduced by British philosopher Bertrand Russell in 1952. It was intended to illustrate the burden of proof in matters of belief, especially when it comes to extraordinary or unfalsifiable claims. The analogy goes like this. Russell imagined a small teapot orbiting the sun somewhere between Earth and Mars, too small to be detected by any telescope. He then argued that he could not convince anyone to believe in the existence of this teapot, since there is no evidence for it and no way to disprove it. The point of the analogy is that just because something cannot be disproven, it doesn't mean it should be believed in without evidence. Russell used this analogy to argue against the logical fallacy of requiring disproof of a claim, especially in the case of religious or metaphysical assertions. The teapot metaphor highlights how the burden of proof falls on the person making the claim, not on those who question it. If someone claims the existence of a teapot orbiting the sun, it's not up to others to prove it doesn't exist. It's up to the claimant to provide evidence for its existence. Without evidence, the claim should be treated skeptically. The concept has since become widely used in discussions about belief, especially in debates over the existence of deities or other unverifiable claims. It's a way of illustrating how belief should be grounded in the evidence and how extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. Russell's teapot remains a powerful tool for showing that the inability to disprove a claim does not necessarily make that claim true or worthy to believe. It's a reminder of the importance of critical thinking, evidence, and skepticism when confronting unsupported or unverifiable assertions. Human ashes left the solar system. In 1998, the human ashes of Gene Roddenberry, the creator of Star Trek, were among the first to be launched into space and left the solar system. Roddenberry's ashes were placed on a portion of a spacecraft known as the Communicator, which was part of the Celestius Memorial Spaceflights program. This program allows individuals to send a small amount of cremated remains into space, where they can be scattered into orbit around Earth or sent on a trajectory that might take them beyond the solar system. Roddenberry's ashes were aboard the Viking 1 spacecraft, which was launched on a mission to study deep space. The spacecraft eventually left the solar system, carrying Roddenberry's remains beyond the reach of the sun. The ashes did not remain in orbit around Earth. Instead, they were set on a path out into the vastness of space, symbolizing Roddenberry's vision of exploration and the infinite frontier, central themes in the Star Trek universe. The idea of sending human remains into space has since been adopted by others, with several companies offering services to send cremated remains on space flights. This act of sending human ashes into space highlights the deep connection between humanity's desire for exploration and the desire to remain connected to something greater than ourselves. Alright, let's get into Tier 5. Vacuum. A vacuum is a space devoid of matter, or a region where the pressure is significantly lower than the atmospheric pressure we experience on Earth. In practical terms, a vacuum is often created in controlled environments like vacuum chambers for scientific experiments or industrial applications. In outer space, for example, the vast majority of it is a vacuum with very few particles, mostly hydrogen atoms, spread out over very large distances. The idea of a vacuum is central to many scientific concepts, especially in physics. The vacuum of space is a near-perfect vacuum, meaning that in the vast expanses between stars and galaxies, there is virtually no matter. However, it's important to note that a true perfect vacuum with absolutely no particles or energy is impossible to achieve in practice, even in space. The term vacuum can also be used to describe regions with very low densities of particles, such as those found in laboratory settings. In a vacuum, there is no air resistance, which allows for experiments and processes that wouldn't be possible in Earth's atmosphere. For instance, in a vacuum, objects fall at the same rate regardless of their mass, as demonstrated by Galileo's famous experiments, and gases or liquids can behave in different ways. In space, a vacuum can have profound effects on human bodies, as the lack of pressure can cause bodily fluids to boil at lower temperatures. An unprotected exposure to a vacuum would be fatal, so I wouldn't recommend going into a vacuum. Additionally, the vacuum energy is a concept in quantum mechanics, referring to the energy present even in a perfect vacuum, arising from the temporary fluctuations in energy that occur due to quantum mechanics. These fluctuations lead to phenomena like virtual particles, which appear and disappear in the vacuum. The concept of the vacuum has far-reaching implications in fields such as astronomy, particle physics, and even cosmology, where it plays a very key role in our understanding of space, the universe's structure, and fundamental forces. Big Bang caused by quantum tunneling. The idea that the Big Bang could have been caused by quantum tunneling is a fascinating and speculative concept within the realm of theoretical physics, especially in the context of cosmology and quantum mechanics. To understand how quantum tunneling might relate to the Big Bang, we need to explore both ideas. Quantum tunneling is a phenomenon from quantum mechanics where particles can pass through energy barriers that, in classical physics, would be insurmountable. This happens because particles at the quantum level do not have definite positions and momenta, but rather exist in a probabilistic state. In certain conditions, this allows them to tunnel through barriers, even if they do not have enough energy to go over them in the traditional sense. When applied to cosmology, some theories suggest that the origin of the universe could involve quantum tunneling from a vacuum state or a quantum fluctuation. The basic idea is that the Big Bang might not have been a singular event of creation in the traditional sense, but rather the result of a quantum process that triggered the universe's rapid expansion from a quantum state. One of the most well-known speculative ideas in this regard comes from inflation theory, which posits that the universe underwent an exponential expansion in the very early moments after the Big Bang. Some versions of inflationary cosmology propose that the universe could have started as a quantum fluctuation in a vacuum state, and quantum tunneling could have caused this rapid transition from a nothingness to the vast, rapidly expanding universe that we observe today. In these models, the universe would have tunneled from a state of extremely high energy and density, which is beyond our conventional understanding of time and space. This process could have occurred in a quantum realm where classical physics don't apply and the laws of quantum mechanics dominate. As the universe tunneled from one state to another, it would have initiated the inflationary phase, driving the expansion of the universe at an incredibly rapid rate. A notable idea is this context comes from Stephen Hawking and James Hartle, who developed the no-boundary proposal. According to this idea, the universe does not have a well-defined beginning or a singular starting point. Instead, time itself could have emerged from a quantum fluctuation, where the Big Bang was the result of a quantum tunneling event. In this view, the universe could have popped into existence without violating the laws of physics, as quantum mechanics allows for such events to occur under specific conditions. While these ideas are intellectually appealing, they remain speculative and not yet empirically tested. The exact mechanisms of the Big Bang's origin and whether quantum tunneling played a role in it are still unknown and form the subject of ongoing research in both cosmology and quantum physics. However, this hypothesis ties together this strange probabilistic world of quantum mechanics with the expansive, deterministic universe we observe, offering a fascinating bridge between the two. White holes. White holes are theoretical objects in general relativity that are considered the opposite of black holes. While black holes are regions in space where gravity is so intense that nothing, not even light, can escape their gravitational pull, white holes would expel matter and energy instead. In the mathematical solutions of Einstein's field equations, specifically the extended Schwarzschild solution, white holes emerge as a potential feature alongside black holes. In this theoretical framework, a white hole is the time-reversed counterpart to a black hole, meaning that white black holes pull matter in. A white hole would theoretically push it out. One of the most intriguing aspects of white holes is their proposed connection to black holes through a wormhole, a theoretical tunnel in space-time that connects distant points in the universe. This idea suggests that matter could be sucked into a black hole at one end and expelled through a white hole at the other end. However, while this is a mathematically consistent solution, there are significant challenges in accepting white holes as real physical objects. For one, they would violate principles of causality, potentially allowing events to unfold in reverse order and leading to paradoxes. Despite their theoretical foundation, white holes have never been observed, and their existence remains speculative. No astronomical phenomena such as gamma-ray bursts or quasar activity have been definitively linked to the behavior of white holes. Furthermore, the laws of thermodynamics, especially to the second law, could also be in conflict with the existence of white holes, as it could potentially lead to a decrease in entropy, which is forbidden in a closed system. As a result, while white holes are fascinating constructs in the study of cosmology, their role in the real universe is still uncertain and largely theoretical. Pocket universes. Pocket universes, also known as bubble universes or pocket dimensions, are a concept in cosmology and theoretical physics that refers to a smaller, self-contained universe existing within a larger, overarching cosmos. These pocket universes are often described as isolated bubbles that have their own distinct laws of physics, properties, and even space-time structures. The idea is a speculative extension of multiverse theory, which suggests that our universe is just one of many in a potentially infinite collection of universes, each with its own unique characteristics. The concept of pocket universes is often associated with eternal inflation, a theory that proposes the universe underwent an exponential expansion in the moments after the Big Bang. According to this theory, inflation never stopped entirely but continues in certain regions of space, leading to the creation of new pocket universes within a larger inflating space. Each of these universes could have different physical constants, laws of nature, and even dimensions of space-time. Some universes might have properties that are radically different from our own, with alternative forms of matter or entirely different types of particles or forces. One of the key ideas behind pocket universes is that they are causally disconnected from one another. This means that events in one universe has no effect on others, and each universe evolves independently. The process by which pocket universes form might involve quantum fluctuations or other mechanics, but they remain isolated from the broader multiverse. While the idea of pocket universes is intriguing, it remains a highly speculative area of cosmology. There's no current direct observational evidence for the existence of these universes, and their existence would be extremely difficult to prove or disprove. Some researchers argue that the idea of pocket universes might be a way to explain certain cosmic mysteries, such as the fine-tuning of the physical constants in our own universe. The argument goes that if there are countless universes, it's not surprising that we live in one with the right conditions for life to exist, but this remains a topic of debate in the scientific community. In essence, pocket universes represent a fascinating, though highly speculative extension of current theories about the cosmos. They are part of a larger multiverse concept, suggesting that our universe may not be the only one, but rather one bubble among an infinite array, each with its own set of rules and characteristics. Alright, now into tier 6. Origin of Europa's pink/brown discoloration. The origin of Europa's pink and brown discoloration has puzzled scientists for some time, as this unique feature on Jupiter's moon remains one of the great mysteries in planetary science. Europa, one of Jupiter's 4 largest moons, is covered by a thick ice shell, and beneath it lies a global ocean of liquid water, making it a prime candidate for studying potential extraterrestrial life. The discoloration observed on its surface, especially in some of the cracks and ridges on its icy crust, stands out as an intriguing feature that may hold clues about the moon's geological and chemical processes. The pinkish and brownish hues are especially noticeable in certain regions, often near the moon's equator or along fissures and ridges. This color appears to be localized, often following specific fractures in the icy surface, which suggests that the underlying cause might be related to geological activity or interactions with the moon's subsurface ocean. Scientists believe that the discoloration could be the result of several different factors, such as salts and minerals. One leading theory is that the colors are caused by salts, especially sulfates and chlorides, which are thought to be mixed with water and ice on Europa's surface. The reddish or brownish hues may come from these salts, which could be carried to the surface by cryovolcanic activity or from geysers that erupt from the subsurface ocean. The salts and minerals could then undergo chemical changes when exposed to the harsh radiation environment around Europa, contributing to the observed colors. For example, the exposure to Jupiter's intense radiation could alter the chemical composition of these salts, creating the distinctive reddish tint. Number 2 is the radiation effects. As we just kind of talked about, Europa's surface is bombarded by high energy radiation from Jupiter's powerful magnetic field, which can then break apart molecules and cause them to form new compounds. This process, known as radiolysis, might be responsible for creating complex organic molecules, such as tholins, which are compounds produced by the radiation or simple organic molecules. Tholins are often associated with reddish and brownish colors, and their formation on Europa could account for the observed discoloration in certain areas. The radiation could also cause changes to the ice, creating patterns and colorations that reflect different chemical states of the surface material. 3. Subsurface ocean interaction. Another possibility is that the discoloration might be a result of the interaction between Europa's surface ice and its subsurface ocean. The ocean, which is believed to be in contact with the moon's rocky mantle, could be rich in chemical compounds, some of which might migrate to the surface through crack or fissures. These compounds could then interact with the surface ice, possibly contributing to the brown or pinkish hues. The movement of liquid water through these cracks could also bring new minerals or salts to the surface, or they might change color due to the radiation or other environmental factors. And finally, 4. Cryovolcanism. Europa is believed to be geologically active, with possible cryovolcanoes, which is ice volcanoes, that could erupt subsurface water mixed with salts and organic compounds onto the surface. These eruptions could be responsible for creating the discoloration patterns, especially if the expelled material contains chemicals that interact with radiation or undergo chemical transformations. Such activity could be more concentrated along the ridges and fractures that show the most discoloration. In essence, the pink and brown discoloration of Europa's surface is likely the result of a combination of different factors, including the presence of salts, radiation-induced chemical reactions, and interactions with the subsurface ocean. While the exact cause is still uncertain, it provides an exciting glimpse into the complex processes at work on this icy moon, suggesting that the Europa's surface is more chemically dynamic than previously thought. Further missions to Europa, like we mentioned earlier, but like NASA's upcoming Europa Clipper mission, will gather more data to unravel this mystery behind these fascinating colorations. Exact distance of WOW signal, origin unknown. The WOW signal, which we talked about in I think Tier 1, is one of the most famous and enigmatic events in the search for extraterrestrial intelligence. Detected on August 15, 1977 by astronomer Jerry Emmon using the Big Ear radio telescope, it was a strong, narrow-band radio signal that lasted for 72 seconds and appeared to come from the direction of the constellation Sagittarius. I know we went over this earlier, but just in case you forgot, since that was like an hour ago at this point, I'll go over it again. The signal's intensity, frequency, and duration were unlike anything ever observed, leading Emmon to write "wow" in the margin of the data printout, giving the signal its name. Despite numerous attempts to detect it again, no repeat of signal has ever been observed, and its origin remains a profound mystery. One of the biggest challenges in understanding the WOW signal is determining the distance from which it originated. The signal came from a region in the sky near the star Tau Sagittarii, but it did not seem to originate from the star itself, nor has any other potential source been identified in that region. Without a repeat signal, it's impossible to trace the signal's origin with certainty. The lack of further observations complicates any attempt to calculate a precise distance or pinpoint the location of its source. Some have speculated that the WOW signal could have been the result of extraterrestrial communication, possibly from an advanced civilization, though this remains speculative. The signal's characteristics, such as its narrow bandwidth and the lack of a clear natural explanation, make it seem like it could be an artificial nature. However, with no repeat signal, the possibility of an extraterrestrial origin is purely conjectural. Despite extensive efforts to detect this signal again, the WOW signal remains a singular anomaly. Alright, so this entry into the iceberg is definitely hard to talk about, so I'll try my best and bear with me. But copy of the observable universe within 10 to the 10th to the 115th meters. The idea of a copy of the observable universe existing within 10 to the 10th to the 115th meters touches on concepts from cosmology, theoretical physics, and even speculative ideas about the structure of the universe. To explore this idea, it's important to understand the scale of the universe and the underlying assumptions of modern cosmological theories. The observable universe is defined as the region of the universe from which light or any other form of information has had time to reach us since the beginning of the universe, given the finite speed of light. The current size of the observable universe is about 93 billion light years in diameter. This represents the limit of what we can currently observe, but it doesn't necessarily mark the end of the entire universe. When we discuss a copy of the observable universe existing within 10 to the 10th to the 115th meters, we are diving into speculative domain, often tied to theories such as the multiverse or concepts in eternal inflation. According to some versions of these theories, our universe may not be unique, but instead part of a vast ensemble of universes, each potentially having different properties, constants, and even physical laws. These universes could be arranged in a vast bubble structure, and if the multiverse theory holds, an infinite number of such universes could exist. In this context, the idea that a copy of our observable universe exists within 10 to the 10th to the 115th meters is likely based on the consideration of the vastness of the universe and the extreme distances involved. A distance of 10 to the 10th to the 115th meters is unfathomably large. It's far beyond the current observable universe. Even if one considers the entire known universe to be part of a larger, potentially infinite expanse, this number might be a reference to the scale at which different bubble universes in a multiverse might replicate or mirror each other, with similar physical laws, structures, and possibility, even galaxies and stars, forming repeated or near identical configurations. It is worth noting that such ideas, while intriguing, remain speculative and theoretical. The concept of a copy of the observable universe existing at such a distant scale is not grounded in direct observation or empirical evidence. Instead, it arises from the mathematical possibilities offered by certain cosmological models, especially those that allow for infinite or highly vast structures in space. Ultimately, the idea of a copy of the observable universe existing with 10 to the 10th to the 115th meters is deeply theoretical, rooted in discussions of the multiverse and cosmic inflation, and underscores the incredible vastness and potential complexity of the universe, or even the many universes, that might lie beyond the limits of what we can currently observe or even imagine. Alright, now onto the final tier, Tier 7, folded dimensions at 1 millimeter. The idea of folded dimensions at 1 millimeter is rooted in theories of higher dimensional spaces and how the fundamental dimensions of space might behave at incredibly small scales. In physics, especially in theories like string theory and M theory, it's proposed that the universe has more than the familiar three spatial dimensions: length, width, and height, in one time dimension. These extra dimensions, however, are typically thought to be compacified or folded into very tiny spaces that are not observable at everyday scales. One of the key concepts in these theories is that the extra dimensions could be compacted or curled up in such a way that they are smaller than the scale of current human perception, at a scale of 1 millimeter, which is relatively large in comparison to subatomic particles. We would not directly observe these dimensions. However, at such a scale, the effects of higher dimensions or the consequences of their folding could potentially have subtle implications for physics. In string theory, for example, the universe is proposed to have as many as 10 or 11 dimensions, depending on the version of the theory. The extra dimensions are thought to be curled up tightly in such a way that they are essentially invisible to us because they are so small, typically at the Planck scale, which is around 10 to the 35th meters. And these dimensions were somehow stretched or folded to the size like 1 millimeter. This would be incredibly large scale compared to their theoretical compacification. At such a scale, we might expect some interesting physical effects to emerge, especially observable in experiments at high energy levels or with the right kind of detectors. The notion of folded dimensions at the scale of 1 millimeter is a way of imagining a scenario where these compact dimensions are somehow accessible, perhaps due to certain high energy conditions or new physics beyond our current understanding. Boltzmann brains. The concept of Boltzmann brains arises from the field of cosmology and statistical mechanics, and it presents a thought-provoking paradox within the framework of anthropic principle in the nature of the universe. The idea is named after the physicist Ludwig Boltzmann, who made foundational contributions to statistical mechanics and thermodynamics in the 19th century. Boltzmann introduced the idea of entropy and how systems evolve over time towards a state of maximum disorder. While Boltzmann himself did not discuss brains in this context, his ideas about probability distributions of particles in the universe laid the groundwork for the Boltzmann brain thought experiment. A Boltzmann brain is a hypothetical, self-aware entity that arises purely by chance from a fluctuation in a high entropy universe. In a vast, chaotic universe, particles might spontaneously come together to form complex structures, even temporarily. Given the vast size and age of the universe, the probability of such fluctuations increase. And in theory, a Boltzmann brain could spontaneously emerge from random arrangements of matter and energy, with its thoughts and perceptions of reality arising purely from statistical chance rather than from an evolutionary process or physical development. The core paradox arises when considering the implications of such an entity. If the universe operates in such a way that random fluctuations could generate a Boltzmann brain, then the number of such minds might vastly outnumber the actual conscious observers that evolved naturally, like humans or other life forms. This leads to an unsettling possibility. If Boltzmann brains are more probable than human beings, it raises the questions of whether our perception of reality is actually a product of a random fluctuation, or whether we are genuinely evolved beings observing a consistent external universe. This theory and scenario leads to some deeper philosophical and cosmological issues. For example, in a universe where Boltzmann brains are common, it becomes increasingly difficult to trust our own perceptions and understanding of the universe. If we are more likely to be a brain spontaneously arising from a fluctuation than a naturally evolved human being, then our perceptions of time, space, and existence might be illusory. merely the result of a random arrangement of particles. This idea challenges the very notion of the real universe, making it seem as though our existence could be a fleeting and improbable accident in the grand statistical landscape of the cosmos. From a cosmological standpoint, the Boltzmann brain paradox also raises questions about the fine-tuning of the universe. If the universe is infinite and has existed for an immensely long time, random fluctuations could produce not only Boltzmann brains, but also entire universes, stars, and galaxies, which in turn would support the argument for the vast and potentially infinite possibilities for the emergence of self-aware minds. Some scientists view the paradox as a problem for certain models of the universe, especially those involving internal inflation or other mechanisms that predict a chaotic, infinite universe where the likelihood of such random fluctuations is high. In modern cosmology, the concept of Boltzmann brains serves as a thought experiment to test the validity of certain cosmological theories. If the theory of the universe is such that Boltzmann brains are more likely than evolved beings, it suggests that the theory might be flawed. Ideally, a consistent cosmological model should account for the actual existence of observers like us, not just random brains that come into existence for brief moments before disappearing again. Ultimately, the Boltzmann brain paradox highlights the strange and often counterintuitive consequences of certain cosmological models, raising profound questions about the nature of existence, reality, and the universe we observe. And alright guys, thank you so much for watching the ultimate space iceberg explained. I really hope you enjoyed this video. I love the space videos. They're so interesting. And even though this one is the ultimate space iceberg, it's actually a little bit shorter than the other one I made. But I hope you enjoy anyways. And I liked this one more because I feel like it got rid of a lot of the fluff that was in the other one. And this one was just really interesting topics and ideas. And I really hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. And if you're still watching, I mean, we're an hour and a half in, so please like the video and subscribe to the channel. And yeah, just thank you so much for watching to the end. It means the world. And all right, until next time, see ya.